Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and in this video I'm gonna review the Tudor Black Bay 58. And as most of you guys know, this watch was introduced at Baselworld this year, and this have probably been one of the most talked about and popular watches this year. So in this video we're gonna find out why there has been so much talk about this watch. And we can start off with some short history about Tudor as a company. Tudor was first registered for Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, in 1926. But in 1946, after the Second World War, Hans Wilsdorf expanded and renamed the company from the Tudor to Montres Tudor SA. And he wanted to offer watches with the same well-known quality of a Rolex, but more affordable. So in 1946, that was basically when Tudor as we know it today started. And this model, the Tudor Black Bay 58, is actually based on the older Tudor 7924 from 1958. So this is a bit of a homage to the 7924, but of course with a modern take. The first Tudor Black Bay was released back in 2012 with the ETA movement, the ETA 2824, and in 2016 they released the Black Bay with the in-house movement. And except for the change to an in-house movement, the case size was also increased from around 13.5 millimeters to 14.8 millimeters. So while it got a new in-house movement, it got a bit thicker. And we're gonna go into the specifications of this watch and compare it a bit to the Black Bay with the in-house movement. One of the most talked about things about the Black Bay 58 is that it retained the iconic look and all the features of the thicker brother, but in a smaller case. And the case size is 39 millimeters in diameter versus 41 on the older version. So this watch is 2 millimeters smaller than the first Black Bay. The case thickness is 11.9 millimeters versus 14.8 on the older brother. So this is one of the biggest changes between the Black Bay 58 and the previous version. And I think many people really appreciate the thinner case, and I do as well, and we're gonna go into that a bit later. Also, the lug width is 20 millimeters instead of 22 millimeters, and the bracelet goes from 20 to 16 millimeters here by the clasp. But it still retains the 200 meter water resistance, the sapphire crystal, and the movement still features 70 hour of power reserve, a silicone hairspring. So you get all the same great specifications, but in a smaller and thinner case. And as we can see, the dial still features that gilt markers and gilt hands with the very famous snowflake hour hand. But the bezel is actually in gold color now versus silver on the previous Black Bay. I was a bit skeptical about this feature when it was first announced, but now when I got this watch, I think it really adds to the look. It gives it a very warm and nice feeling. Also, the lume on the dial and on the lume pip here is now matching, and they both feature C3 Superluminova, which was a feature that was not on the previous Black Bay. It also got the new crown, and the previous crown was actually etched with black filling, and some people had some issues with the black peeling off. So now they have created a raised logo instead, which doesn't have the black paint in it. And also the crown tube is now in stainless steel and a bit shorter. One feature that is a bit unpopular with the previous Black Bay is the fake rivets on the bracelet, and unfortunately they are still here with the Black Bay 58, but in my opinion it doesn't really bother me. The bracelet is of really high quality, great finishing, great machining here, and you don't really think about it when you actually wear the watch and have it in your hand, but it is a feature that I could have lived without. And I must say that the look of this watch with the gilt dial and the gilt colored bezel insert and the red pip is really nice. I am a big fan of vintage inspired watches, and this is probably the best vintage inspired watch I have ever taken a look at. And I've always liked the original Black Bays, but I tried one a year ago, and I just felt that it was far too thick and a bit too big. So now with the smaller and slimmer case, I think this is a future classic, and to get this kind of level and finishing on a watch of this price, if you compare it to a Rolex for example, is really nice. And even though this watch is pretty expensive, you get a lot of value for your money still. And I think that is basically the only negative thing that I can think of, is that it's still a expensive watch, but offers great value for your money if you compare it to similar watches in this price range. Also, the bezel action is really solid. It's a really nice clicking action. It sounds really nice. And before I do a wrist shot, I just want to mention that you can remove 7 links from the bracelet. I'm not exactly sure how small you can go, but I have a 7-inch wrist for reference, and I have removed 2 links. So there is plenty of room to downsize the bracelet. But yeah, let's take a look at a wrist shot so you can see how it looks on my 7-inch wrist. Be right back. Okay, here it is, and as we can see, I think it looks really nice. It sits perfectly on my wrist, and I think if some of you are worried that 39 is too small, I assure you it's not too small. I think this will suit most wrists. I can, with my 7-inch wrist, I still think 34, 35 and 36 millimeter watches look really good, so 39 would probably suit most watches. And in my opinion, I think this is a classic size, and most diving watches in history have been under 40 millimeters or 40 millimeter in diameter. So yeah, this is a really good size in my opinion. I must honestly say I really love this watch, and you can call me a bit biased because I have bought it, but this is an excellent watch for your money, and this will probably become a future classic. And yeah, this is just a almost perfect watch. There are, as I said, a few downsides. The rivet bracelet is a bit of a minus, but it doesn't really bother me that much, but it would be nicer without the rivets, as they have no function basically. But in general, the new crown, the smaller tube, and the golden markings on the bezel insert, the smaller case, and especially the thinner case is all add up to a really nice watch. And yeah, if you're looking for a watch in this price range, or you're looking for a really nice diving watch in general, I think this is the way to go right now. I can't really think of anything else in this price range that can compete with it. Perhaps the Seiko 62 mass or Seiko SLA 017 can compete with this watch, but of course that's a Seiko and some people don't want to spend that kind of money on Seiko. I absolutely love the SLA 017. I think that's a really nice watch, and I think that watch can compete with this watch, but I would probably stick with the Tudor, thanks to the great size, the thin case, and overall great aesthetics. So yeah, let me know what you think of this watch down in the comment section. And from the comments on my unboxing video, most people seem to really love this watch, and yeah, just let me know down in the comments what you think of this watch. Is this something you want to own, or do you perhaps own it? And also, if you know any great alternatives to this watch in the same price range, yeah, just leave that in the comments as well. It would be nice to hear some alternatives to this watch, if there are any. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.